This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're sitting in the middle of the African bush live. There's been a lioness with blood on its face around during the night. We're hoping she's got a nice big kill somewhere. We're on our way to try find her, and this is Safari Live. Ready.
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning and welcome everybody to this, the 8.5 million acre expanse of the Greater Kruger National Park. We are sitting here on the western fringes thereof, here on Nkuhuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains private game reserves in the Sabie Sand. This is my tent and it's wonderful to be here with you. Here is my tent, everybody. Hello to you. My name is James. On camera today we have David, and we're just going to have a look and see what we have on offer today. A great sort of place of museum artifacts, if you like. Well, not actually artifacts. I was informed yesterday that artifacts are of human making. Everything here was made by nature. We have, with any luck, the drone, the rover is up and running. That's excellent news. We have a microscope to show you various little things, and mostly we're going to be discovering what is in amongst the detritus that Steph managed to find at a hyena den yesterday. That will be very exciting, if a little smelly. Please do ask us questions. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at wildearth.tv. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. We've got Steph out on walk. You've met Brent already, and we're going to hand you across to Jamie, who's out on drive now.
Good morning and welcome on another spectacularly beautiful morning here in the African bush. My name is Jamie and the man behind the camera is Liam, and we're heading out to see what wonderful things we can find. So without further ado, let's head off towards the rising sun and make our way towards Cheetah Plains, where yesterday on the sunset safari Brent had a leopard known as Mbambalana, also known as the emerald spotted wood dove, feeding off a buffalo carcass there with a very, very full belly. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that perhaps he is still there, because that will be the first time that I have ever seen a Mbambalana. Liam, have you ever seen him? Nope. Liam says he hasn't seen him either. Now off we go to see whether or not he has managed to maintain his lucky find. The buffalo that probably succumbed to the drought pressures. There's also, of course, the possibility of the Styx pride, the Styx lion pride. And there is a chance that they might have found that carcass as well and perhaps chased Mbambalana off. The other thing that we've been doing, for those of you that have seen through the INS on the Nkuhuma Dam camera, been scouring Nkuhuma to see where those lions must be. Apparently she was seen with a face full of blood, which means that the Nkuhumas, despite their full bellies yesterday, have managed to make a kill somewhere around here. And while we search for different and wonderful things to show you, the master of finding different and wonderful things is Stefan, and he'd like to say good morning.
Good morning, yes, and exactly. Thank you very much, Jamie. I'm Stef Winterboer, and on camera today is Jandre Gerding. And we are sitting right here by a harvested termite colony who are just finishing off their night's forage in their stockyard, basically. And you've got a few workers still carrying in one or two things from the outlying areas, but most of it is being forced down into their tunnels by these workers here. And what they'll do is they'll carry on doing this until it gets a little bit lighter than it is now, and then they'll seal up the entrance to their burrow with a seal of cement and saliva and little bits and pieces of cellulose, and that'll cap it off, and then they'll eat during the day, basically taking the rest of this food all the way down into the rest of the colony. These are not farming termites. These actually eat the wood. But what you're looking at now is a way of nutrification. It's basically taking what little vegetation there is around here and taking it subterranean and allowing that nutrients basically to return to the soil, which in return will feed the roots of the grass and of the trees and of everything else around here as well. So that looks like they are denuding an area, and it's pretty epic, the scale at which these guys can harvest grass. I mean, in some areas of this country, 3.5 tons of grass material per hectare can be collected. 3.5 tons. That is a lot more than any of the other herbivores do here per hectare. In actual fact, if you have a yield of about 6 tons per hectare of maize, and that is under scientific irrigated conditions, if a farmer yields 6 tons per hectare, he's doing incredibly well. These harvest 3.5 tons and they don't do anything to the land. They just harvest from it. They don't fertilize it. Well, I suppose they do in actual fact. I just contradicted myself there. But in any case, there was a lioness at the dam cam with her face full of blood a couple of hours ago in the dark. Thank you very, very much for sending in that piece of information. We are right here with Herbert today. Of course, Herbie's a master tracker. Not really a master tracker, level 2 tracker, but in any case, he's better than what we are. And we're going to see if we can pick up these lionesses' tracks and from there follow it back to whatever she killed. I'm hoping that it's on Nkuhuma. I'm hoping that we'll be able to follow it up today and find you whatever is going on. So, without further ado, let's see if we can go find these tracks. So Gabriel, good morning Gabriel, it's good evening to you all the way from Oregon. You've asked me, do we get meerkats here? Gabriel, we don't get meerkats here, but we do get mongoose here. Meerkats are in the drier, I want to say the drier western part of the country, from about halfway through South Africa all the way to the west coast. We're about 60 or so miles from the east coast of South Africa, and right here we don't get meerkats. But we do get mongoose, and we get social mongoose here as well. The banded mongoose and the dwarf mongoose are two examples of social mongoose, very similar to those meerkats that you saw. And they can be habituated exactly the same. We don't have any habituation here, mainly because we're in such a pristine wilderness area, but they can be habituated, and you can have the same sort of interactions, them using you as posts, climbing all over you and doing all the rest of the things. Ooh, we just have the last little bit of sunrise coming through a break in the clouds. No, it's gone, sorry. That's done. There was just the last sliver. Maybe it comes up above there. I can see it lighting above that tree there, Jean-Andre. Can you see that? Above the knobthorn. Looks like it's going to come through a gap in the trees there. No? Cloudy this morning, as you can see. It's about 19 degrees centigrade. I think that was about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Round about just less than 66 degrees Fahrenheit in actual fact. So it's actually been quite a warm evening. And for the first time since the beginning of the dry season, this morning out on the roads are tracks of scorpions and baboon spiders, and so they are active again at night, which means that the average temperature threshold for them to become active has been reached. Spring is definitely here. Spring is on the way. If it wasn't for the knobthorns flowering and everything else going along, just those two little facts would be exactly what make it for me. Baboon spiders, which are South Africa's version of the tarantula, and the scorpions are starting to become active at night time again. Alright, now we are quite close to Nkuhuma Dam now, and we are going to spend some time combing the roads around the pan to see if we can find any tracks and signs of that lioness, and we'll come back to you with an update. So without further ado, you're off to James in his tent.
James has managed to drop the first gem that came out of the packet, and there it is, everybody, a claw. I'm going to put it under the microscope. This is the worst pair of tweezers in the history of bad tweezers, and you know that the world, everybody, is filled with bad sets of tweezers. Right, there we are. Have a look at the microscope feed now. There you can see this claw. I wonder what it came from. And there was some interest in camp last night as to where it came from. Steph thinks maybe from where a leopard or a lion has actually pulled the claw out. You've seen your own house cats, I'm sure, and your dogs pulling at their claws, and I'm sure sometimes they do come out in the same way that your nails might come out. These have not been cleaned. This particular claw, you can see it was very dirty, and it almost looks to me like it rotted. Now, there was also some discussion as to whether or not the claw perhaps came through the digestive system of the hyena, and maybe the hyena ate a cub of some sort. We know the Styx cub went missing at some stage. We know that various other cubs have been missing at various times, but this is not an adult lion, certainly not an adult lion claw, and it's certainly not an adult leopard claw either. It could have been maybe an African wildcat that was devoured by a hyena as it went about its business in the evening. There's a little piece of hair there that you might be able to see, and that little piece of hair, oh gosh, these things are terrible, I'm going to have to replace them. But that little piece of hair, I think, came from the rest of the hair that was in the digestive system. Then, let's have a look-see at this feather, which I think is probably, in fact, almost certainly from the breast of some kind of nocturnal animal, but you can see it's quite large. And the reason I say it's from the breast is because it's got the downy stuff underneath here, which means it's not used for flight, which means it's used almost purely for warmth, and that's why it'll be on the breast of whatever bird it was. I suspect quite strongly a spotted eagle owl, which is quite nice. That's because it's, well, it's dark, it's large, and, well, not dark, it's blandly coloured, which of course the nocturnal birds are. And of course, David, the spotted eagle owl has?
Spots.
Correct, spots. Well done. Let's have a look under the microscope quickly. See what it looks like. And we're ready. There we are. This gives you an idea. Now, what's interesting, apart from the fact that it isn't a winged feather, which is clear, look how poorly attached the barbs and barbucils of this feather are. So you can see, quite unlike, and I will show you another feather, in fact, very shortly. The barbs of this feather are not very well stuck together. That's A, because it's not a flight feather, and B, because it's an owl feather. Owl feathers are not stuck together very effectively. Well, this is a fairly manky sort of starling feather, but I'll show it to you anyway. They're not stuck together very effectively for a good reason, and that is that they like to let the air pass through the flight feathers when they fly. Oh gosh, the thing is really not exposing nicely. Wait 1 second, everybody. I'll try not to fling this thing out of the window. That will be very bad, won't it, David?
Yes, John.
Yes, it will be embarrassing. Right, there we are. Now, what you can see here is much better. This is clearly a flight feather of a bird that flies during the day and doesn't worry about the sound that its wings make. When this bird flies, it flaps, and the wind, or at least, yeah, the wind air passes underneath and over the top of the wing and not through the wing, because those barbs are so much more tightly packed than they are on the owl's wing. And the owl allows the air to go through the wing because it can fly silently then. That's the whole point of this very garbled story that I've been giving you. Let's head across to Brent Leo Smith and find out what he is up to.
Well, we found the lions. They've caught, it looks like, an adult buffalo bull. Isn't this exciting? The whole pride's here. By the looks of things, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 lionesses, lots of cubs. I'm pretty sure the 5th's around. The incredible Nkuhumas do it again. I'm going to try find a spot to get in there now. Just walk forward a little bit for now. Morning, girls. Well done. It looks like they've been eating for quite some time already. Look at this lady with her big fat belly. Okay, it's a little bit of a tricky area. Oh, we got charging cubs all around. All 5 lionesses present and accounted for, and I've got, can't see all the cubs yet, but I'm sure they're all about. Happy lions, lots of food. Look at that little one playing. I'm just trying to move a little bit further forward so you can see him. How's that, Brian? No, it's still behind the tree. Okay, we're gonna have a look here. The cubs are playing. Of course, nice big kill. No male present at the moment. I wonder if the males actually heard this buffalo expire last night. If they did, they're certainly on their way. Ooh. Big gains. Can you believe it? That's the little cubs making that growling noise. Already at this tiny age. I'm just trying to see. This is quite a difficult area to get a vehicle into the carcass. But we will try just now, but let's just sit and watch these wonderful little cubs running around and playing at the moment. I think one of the adults might. This lioness looks like she's thinking about charging and joining in the game, but so far it's just the cubs. Oh, attempting to climb the tree again. Also cleaning claws. Oh, tackled. Wonderful little cubs. The whole Nkuhuma pride seems to be in great, grand spirits. Looks like a big buffalo bull. A very good morning to Sean. Sean says, we've been seeing a lot of buffalo kills of late. Is it due to the pride being so big? Well, Sean, the main reason is during the dry season, there's always more buffalo kills as the older bulls lose condition. Now, coupled with the fact that we're in the worst drought ever recorded in South Africa, means that we're going to see a lot of buffalo kills. The buffalo are just not in the best condition, and it makes it a little bit easier for the lions to catch them. Okay, let's try. Have a look. There's cubs all over the place. I'm just trying to plan my approach where we can get into a spot where we can see the carcass and then feeding a little bit better. Well, we've got cubs in front of us. We'll just keep still for now. And you can see that little cub's got buffalo stomach content all over it. off into ad break, but stay tuned to see what happens with Nkuhuma's next. Brian, what's the thumb this morning? Is it a vegetable? Oh, it's a tie. Well, another day at the office advert. Okay, we're going to try and move around, see if we can get into a slightly better position. While we do that, let's go across to see how Steph's doing on foot.
We're doing fine, thank you, Brent. We've just located this Wahlberg's eagle. This is the Wahlberg's eagle from Wahlberg's Nest Road, I think is what it's called. It's the pale morph Wahlberg's, and it's the first time I'm seeing this Wahlberg's back. So I just want to say hello and welcome back after your trip all the way to North Africa. They are intra-African migrants, which means that during our dry season they leave and they fly to the northern hemisphere into African countries that lie around the Mediterranean rim, and they go and spend the summer in the northern hemisphere. They're mainly insectivorous birds, so they catch locusts and they feed on termites, and they come down to South Africa to the same nest every year, and they come and have their babies here and eat the abundance that summer brings. Oh, look at the sunrise, Jean-Andre. Sorry, this one we are going to be able to catch, I think. Come and have a look here quick before it disappears behind some rolling clouds. In that direction, probably no more than 300 or 400 yards, is Brent on that buffalo. Just have a look at these mist banks rolling in across the sun. That is beautiful. Not the moon, but actually the sun. So James Richard, you've just asked me to check the shikra nest as well this morning. I am going to have to find out where that is, James. I have no clue where a shikra's nest is today. So sorry about that. But I'm sure we'll find out where it is at some point and I'll be able to get back to you. Our plan for today has changed slightly since Brent managed to find that exactly that lioness, that exact one that was on the dam cam, and led you guys straight back to that buffalo that it is. I've just been told in my ear by kind Kirsty that the shikra nest is on Zoe's Road. We are probably about 5 miles from there, James, at the moment. Not really feasible for us to hike all the way there for me to go and look for a shikra nest. I'm sorry, we'll do it another day when we're walking in that direction again. But our plan has changed slightly, but what we are going to do is sort of hang around the Mulwati drainage line. That's this donga that we have over here, or this ditch, this creek bed that we have here, and we're going to see what we can find for you along this riverbed. It is a fantastic road for leopard to use and lion as well, so maybe we find something along here for you. Let's carry on going. Just walk over here. All right, so I think without further ado, let's send you back to that lion kill and Brent.
So we've managed to get into a better spot here. As we can see, I've counted now, all 8 cubs are here. And we can hear them feeding. One lioness is looking up. I wonder if there's not a male on his way. She just rolled on top of the cub. Isn't that wonderful? Welcome back. We're with the Nkuhuma pride, our dominant pride of lions who've managed to catch an adult buffalo bull. We're in the northern sections of Juma Private Game Reserve here in the Sabie Sands, and it's all happening. A very happy pride with lots of meat judging from how much meat, I'd say this kill probably took place quite early this morning. And look at that, climbing on top, trying to get into the good spot. And look at this, very playful. And that is not one of the mothers that's playing there. So the whole pride is in good spirits, lots of meat, and no male lions to hog the carcass. So lots of playing, feeding, growling, snarling. Hi, Kyle, who's in Detroit, in Michigan. Kyle says, do lions have a favorite animal to hunt, or they go for what they see first? Now, being opportunistic predators, they will go for what they see, but certain prides of lions do seem to specialize in different things. The Nkuhumas are buffalo specialists, and especially with this drought, it's quite useful because the buffalo aren't in the best of condition, so there's less risk for the reward of a big meal. And that, look at that little guy, he's got his head right in there. Those two still having the best game. It's just incredible just to listen to the sounds. I'm going to keep quiet for a while. We're just going to listen and watch. Now listening to some of these noises, Doodle says, I never get tired of the sounds the cubs make. Me neither. Look at that one. He's been knocked out of his spot in the carcass. He's looking like he's quite rotund. Oh, we're going to go find another way to get in there. They're just the sweetest little noises. And the wonderful thing about lion cubs, they are very talkative when the adults are around. That is a cub. tried Miranda in Florida. Miranda would like to know if a lion that's not fully grown be able to take down an antelope like an impala. And it is possible, Miranda, especially if they get abandoned. But it is possible, but generally they're not really active members of the hunt till they're about 3 years old. But if they ever had to get abandoned, they will definitely hunt to try survive. But now, the amazing thing is little lion cubs will eat meat from about as young as 6 weeks old, even though they will drink milk, and weaned at about 6 months. That's when the females will stop lactating. Now, of course, if there's multiple females lactating, and of course at different ages, the older cubs will take advantage of that fact and still continue to sneak milk after they're older than 6 months. We're going to sit here and see if a male lion comes to join the rest of the Nkuhuma pride. While we do that, let's go back to James in the tent.
Hello everybody, back again. Guess what? Great news. Ronald is mobile. Well done, Rebecca. That was very, very well done. Oh, Ronald is getting stuck on a stick. That's very irritating. Anyway, there he is. He's on his way down to the pan to see what water is there and to see if anything has come down. In the meantime, I have been, well, fossicking through the muck that is the hyena's detritus from yesterday, and we can have a little bit of a look as to what's there. And then I would like to show you my favorite first spring sign, and that, of course, is the flower of the knobthorn. So we'll get Ronald into a position where you can see the water, like, say, in 3.5 seconds. 1, a 2, a 3, a 3.5. Ooh, stump, quickly, around the side. There we go. That'll do for now. I'll move him about as we go. And then, if you come back and have a look here, everybody, what we have got is this box that I've splayed the hyena's sort of muck into here. And, well, we've looked at the feathers. That's quite interesting. We've got a couple of different hoofs here. It's quite possible, you know, that this, I think this was an impala or a possibly as large as a nyala, that particular hoof. But that little hoof over there is quite possibly a fetus from a young nyala, because I think it came out in the same sort of dung pile, and that does quite regularly happen. So a fetus will be removed from the mother, which is quite distressing to see. And then we'll have a little microscope look at the hair. There we go. Absolutely amazing colors there inside the hyena's dung. Now, hair, of course, is completely and utterly indigestible. Not even the hyena's acidic digestive system can digest hair. And while you go and have a look at some impala, with Steph, we're going to see if we can't find something small and parasitic crawling around in the hair.
We've just crossed into this thicket, and in this Tamboti thicket was a herd of impala that spent the night here. And there you can just see a female walking off, and perhaps you'd be able to see the white flash drift off through this particular thicket. But we came here because there's just this mass of bird calls coming from the inside of this thicket. I want to see if we can show you some of the birds that are in here at the moment. This is just such a fantastic thicket. These thickets are rare. Tamboti thicket, the rarest forest type in Africa, and we're standing in a forest thicket of Tambotis. What I want to try and do is give us an idea of what's happening in this tree. Inside this tree, birds are coming to the tree and from the tree all the time. And you'll notice a paradise flycatcher on the right-hand side of the tree, long streamer tail behind him. That is not it. Go right. Right and up. Up, left now. Sorry. There. Up. To the right hand side of the screen. There we go. In that gap, you'll see some flitting around. Genre's just got this mass of red as the camera tries and focuses on all the branches there, but inside there is a paradise flycatcher, but a little bit too difficult to get with this particular lens today, don't worry. So back to this thicket that we're sitting in at the moment. I, for one, think that Tamboti thicket forest is rare because I feel that all these trees are related to one another. This is just me personally. All these trees are related to one another and they all help to feed a single tree. And I'm basing this on the fact that trees. Here's the two large trees in this particular thicket. But I personally feel that all the trees around us at the moment in this thicket, and they all circular around these big trees, all related to this tree. And eventually they'll die off in favor of giving the adult tree the best chance of success. And you're left then with one of these forest giants. This is still a youngster, although it's coppiced at the base. These trees get big. There's some here that are like this big. There's some massive Tamboti trees around here. And like I said, one of the rarest forest types that we have here. It's also a very valuable hardwood used in the manufacture of furniture. And I quite like it. One of my favorite trees out here. Anyway, you're back off to the lions with Brent.
Now, one lioness might have noticed something. She looks like she's looking up. It's not unusual for hyenas, if they hear this type of feeding, to come have a look. But if it's only a single hyena, it might not take the chance of coming right up here. Now, as a general rule, for every adult lioness you need 3 hyenas. So with 5 lionesses here, you would need 15 hyenas for them to successfully try and chase the lions off this buffalo carcass. She's definitely, she's there. She's either heard something. Now, with lions on a kill like this, it's possible a male might have heard it. So he might be on his way to join them. It's amazing the attitude of the little cubs. They'll growl and snarl at an adult, knowing they'll get away with it a bit more. As they get older, the lionesses will get less tolerant of that behavior. But most of them have got big fat bellies. And I think it's going to calm down a little bit here. They're going to sleep. But to see what happens next, stay tuned as we disappear off into an ad break. We'll be back shortly. Look at these little guys. Even though a lot of them have been munching down on a big buffalo, the rest, they're going for a drink. Best of both worlds. Milk and meat. Off. Just behind that bush bunch, I try to roll forward slightly. Oh no, Mom's had enough. How's that? A little bit more, get that quarry out of the way. There we go. Sorry, I just wanted you guys to hear that complaining about not being able to feed on milk. Hi, Marilee in Illinois. Marilee is wondering, do the most aggressive cubs normally turn out to be males? Generally, yes. As they get bigger, the males will become more and more aggressive around the carcasses. Game's on again. Yeah, we can actually see the whole pride now. We've got the three adult lionesses at the carcass with 3 cubs. And then lying just to the right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubs. And then further to right, 2 adult lionesses. Those 2 adult lionesses lying there are not the mothers, so it's Amber Eyes and the youngest Nkuhuma female. And it looks like they've glutted themselves earlier and are now sleeping off a buffalo stupor. Brian, look what's coming in here. I wonder if the cubs are going to spot them. 2 little crested francolins. I wonder if the cubs will spot them. Now, movement near them could end up in that they have to chase. Practice makes perfect, and stalking francolin is something lots of little cubs do, mostly with great failure. And look at them, they're about to go right past the carcass. There we go, the one female spotted them. None of the cubs have spotted them yet. Yes, I'd skedaddle if I was you. Oh, there we go, one cub spotted them. Now, has he got too much buffalo to stalk the francolin in his belly? Or will the movement of the francolin prove to be too much of a temptation? He's dropping his head. Oh no. No, I think too much buffalo in the belly to go chasing birds. Oh no. Here we go. Stalk mode. No, they've got too far now. Now he's just watching them. Oh, he's going again though. Barney's still stalking those francolin. He's actually moving quite far away from them. There he goes. I think the francolin have made safe their escape. So while we sit here and see what else happens at the Nkuhuma Pride with their buffalo, Jamie's just arrived at the buffalo carcass on Cheetah Plains.
Here we have our poor drought victim. It has been almost entirely consumed, and it's the one positive about the drought is the fact that nothing out here goes to waste. Even the starlings will come and feed off it, catch the scraps and the insects. And welcome back on your live safari. Just a reminder that you are here in the middle of the African bush. In fact, as far east as we can go, right next to the world famous Kruger National Park. Now, you've been with Brent and those incredible lions on their buffalo kill. This poor buffalo was not caught by any of the predators, but instead succumbed to the drought and probably to some kind of illness. And she's been almost entirely picked clean by a combination of a leopard as well as very patient vultures that have been waiting for their turn for the last 2 days. Now, unfortunately, I've just found out that our leopard has crossed east into the Kruger National Park. Unlike us, the animals out here are not set by any boundaries. They're not in any way restricted as to where they can go. And our leopard has moved off a little bit further to the east into a reserve that is world famous for its concentration of predators. I'm hoping that if we sit here nice and quietly, the vultures are going to decide to return to this carcass. They're sitting waiting patiently in the trees around us. There's a couple of white-backed, and they are the true victors of this drought, our predators and our scavengers. They are the ones that are going to be the most successful out here. We've got the most common species of vulture out here, the white-backed vulture. There's one of them there, watching carefully, waiting for the opportunity. Oh, we've got hooded vultures as well, waiting for their opportunity to come down and to scavenge off this carcass. And even the birds like the starlings are gathered around to participate in this feast. They're attracted to the insects that are in turn attracted to the buffalo carcass. And she's been all but finished. I think hyenas have come through and fed off this carcass as well. I don't think this is just the work of vultures and that hyena and that leopard. There's parts of the bones that have been chewed away. The ends of the ribs have been nibbled as well. Although why they're not still here is a different question. And I always really hope that perhaps there's the opportunity of seeing a brown hyena. And flashes of bright blue, shiny bright blue of the greater blue-eared starlings fluttering about. A beautiful morning here. Come on, vultures. Are you going to come back or are you going to wait? And Zariah in New Jersey, welcome on our sunrise safari. You've asked a very good question, and yes, absolutely. Buffalo are easier to take down during drought periods because they're weaker, they're tired, they just don't have the strength that they might in normal conditions. However, just one small point, it's very unusual for a leopard to hunt a buffalo. Sometimes big male leopards might hunt buffalo calves. We haven't seen that many small calves recently. There's very few of the females that are giving birth at this time of year. But for the lions, there is definitely an advantage to the drought conditions. And also bear in mind, the buffalo are forced into smaller areas, confined by where they can go to drink. They are water-dependent animals, which means for the lions of the Sabie Sand and throughout the greater Kruger National Park area, sitting waiting at waterholes means that they've got an almost certain chance of success. Now, this poor buffalo didn't get caught by anything. She just couldn't do it anymore. And the first victims of the drought will be the old and the young for our bulk grazers. You can see she's quite an old lady, just judging by the condition of her fur and her teeth. And apparently we have been seeing her recently around Cheetah Plains. Sorry, girl. And the less food they have, the more, because each and every single, more most likely most of the buffalo out here, and some of the lions and the kudu and the other animals are carriers of tuberculosis. It usually doesn't affect them. It's a naturally occurring disease. But when they start to lose condition, then it hastens their demise. But as I said, nothing shall go to waste out here. That is a time of plenty for those who know how to be opportunists. There was a big round-bellied leopard here yesterday, and we just missed out on seeing him. Probably by only a few moments. That's alright, we'll go off in search of other things, since our vultures don't seem to want to come down and scavenge off the carcass. So we're going to go and examine the boundaries, look for cheetah. While we do, let's go across to James, who'd like to show you what the skull of a buffalo looks like.
Here is my friend Billy the buffalo, everybody. I've shown him to you before. Oh, he's so heavy, even though he's my brother. Now, let's just have a look-see. So I think it's sometimes quite difficult to get the idea of the scale of an animal like this when you see it dead on the floor. Billy is also dead, by the way. He isn't alive, but it is quite difficult to get the scale. Look at the size of him in comparison with me, and you will see that he weighs, or perhaps you can see that I'm struggling to hold him. He probably weighs about 20 kilograms. That's just this head without the brain in it. 20 kilograms, around about 44 pounds. And I'm going to sit down because I'm unable to continue holding him. Ugh. And what I would like you to look at, first of all, is the boss. This is the boss. And the boss, of course, is this helmet that the males have. Now, the cows do not have that, so the cow you'll be looking at is much thinner over here on the top of the head than, on the top of the horns than the bulls are. Her horns come basically out the side from where my left hand is there. And the bulls have this, of course, because they do quite a lot of fighting over ladies. That is what happens with them. Now, James Richard, you're wondering about the gecko eggs that lived in this buffalo skull. I'm afraid, James, this is a slightly different buffalo skull. In fact, it's not slightly different, it's completely different. But we can still look into the brain case, because the brain case of these things tend to be very enthusiastically occupied by various animals, because they're obviously very safe places to live if you can get them. They are of a premium, though. Right, so I'll just focus inside there. And there we go. You can have a look there. That's the inside of the buffalo's brain. Well, this case. But there's nothing in there. Now we're going to go and try and retrieve the other buffalo skull, which is on quarantine clearings, and that's where the gecko eggs were. But there's something in between those two leaves there. You see that? Those leaves would have been dragged in there by something, quite possibly a reptile of some sort, and something's gone on there. I think whatever it is has hatched and gone away, but I think those little specks of white there are perhaps the remains of a leathery shell of a lizard or maybe even a small snake. So I think that's quite interesting. That is the inside of a buffalo's brain case. Okay, let's come back to this side. Now, okay, we'll show that to you later. Let's head across to Steph. He has got exactly actually what I was going to show you. In fact, can we just not link to him quite yet, because it's going to be quite a nice link quickly to, let me put that down over there. Oh gosh, there goes the microscope. I've lost everything. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, here we go. Dear. That's a disaster. I'm just going to show you what Steph's going to show you in situ, but I'm only going to show you a very close-up version of it once I can start the thing up. There we go, it's fired itself up. Right, there we are. Look at that, everybody. That there is a beautiful flower, and it is my favorite flower of this time of the year because it smells so very delicious. Now, when you look at the colors that you can see here, you're not going to see these colors when you go across to Steph, because of course he is not quite as micro as we are. Let's go and have a look.
We've also got a knobthorn flower. Ours is just still attached to the tree, and you can see what I mean by, and we're very privileged here in actual fact to see two of the flowers. The flowers that erupt, these ones here, they come out in these fluffy bursts, just absolutely drenched in pollen, and have this really sweet smell, a very jasmine-y orange blossom smell. It's actually very pleasant. And then here we have the pollinated flowers that'll turn into the seeds of the knobthorn, which are pods that burst open with a flat seed. And we also have a leaf. This is the first of the season, so I just want to welcome this leaf back, although I don't think it's going to be going anywhere. It's a compound leaf, which means that the leaf itself is split into leaflets. So leaflets, one on either side. So that entire thing is one leaf made up of many leaflets, and now you go to the end and you're going to have a look, and we will see that it is terminated by a single leaf, not two leaves. So the single leaf not 2 leaves. And that helps you identify these particular plants, and they are very tasty. Lots of animals love young knobthorn leaves. I must say, for me, very tanniny, have a lot of tannins, so the left-hand side of my mouth is now completely devoid of saliva. What you would be able to do with this, with all that tannin, is a cut like this that I have on my finger. You can then pack the juice from there into the cut, and it actually will stop bleeding. So tannin helps to coagulate blood, and it'll actually help bleeding. So you could then leave that on there like a poultice and strap it down, and it'll help bleeding to be stopped. There you go. Nice. Alright, that's basically the knobthorn. Oh, knobthorn trees that have been pushed down like this also expose their roots. And ladies in the area for centuries have been harvesting the root bark by scraping the root bark off, taking it to a pot at home, and then boiling it over a fire with water, and then bashing the pulp into the pot, into the boiling water, and it releases a dark reddish dye that you can dye grass mats with, and you can, well, Brent's got some wild dogs, off you go.
So there's very few things that'll make me leave the Nkuhuma cubs, but African wild dogs are one of them. It's my favorite animal. And we've got the pack of 3, highly mobile west. Look at them go. They're such incredible animals. Oh, there's one charging us. Not really, but he's just running in front of us. So we'll go past and we're going to turn around. Look at that. They're hungry. They're on the hunt. Now, this is the most endangered canid in southern Africa. There's less than 500 of them in the country. And we're going to try stick with them. They are right on the edge of our Traverse area, but hopefully they do cut to the south into Djuma, or deeper into Djuma. Now, I didn't notice any impala as I was rushing along to get here, but hopefully they do find something. They are looking quite hungry. Now, this pack has got a fascinating story. It's the 3 remaining members of the Lower Sabie Pack that died of canine distemper earlier this year. Okay, we're just going to let everyone have a chance. There's other vehicles here. So we're going to let the other vehicles go up ahead, and then I'm going to make a scoot around to try keep up with them on the side. Morning, morning. Thanks very much. Isn't this exciting? Wild dogs on the hunt, buffalo, lions on a buffalo kill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak through to the fire break so we can keep up with them. Hold on. So they're heading straight west down our northern boundary at the moment. So I've just got onto the fire break here. So this gives us an opportunity. We might be able to zoom up ahead of them again. I also want to make sure that I can see if there's any impala, and this has given me a nice big open area that I can spot if they're going to go charging off. Now, they are capable of speeds of up to 65 kilometers an hour. They're also capable of keeping that speed for over 5-6 kilometers at a time. As you can see, we're probably doing, what do you reckon? And this is their jogging speed. We're probably doing 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers an hour. Contact calling. Now, this is what we would call a dispersal pack. So they will all be related. So what they're doing at the moment is they're looking for unrelated wild dogs to form a new pack. It wouldn't be exciting if Djuma forms part of their core territory. Okay, let's keep going. I want to see over the next crest. So this enables us to keep parallel with them without interfering with them. We are probably about 50 meters away from them. Now, there's something running across the road, a bit too big for the wild dogs. They've spotted the wild dog, but those male waterbuck would probably be a little bit too much of a challenge for 3 of them. Now, David is wondering, do these guys have pups? They don't. They were part of a pack where the alpha female was pregnant, but unfortunately she died from canine distemper, and she actually had 18 pups in her stomach. So it was very, very sad, but it's incredible that 3 of them survived, which is also quite positive. It means they probably are immune to distemper, and hopefully that genetic immunity to distemper, if they do manage to breed by meeting up with dispersal members from either the Sands pack, the Investec pack, that immunity will continue on through their puppies, making this pack a more viable pack in the future. Here we go. We love it when a plan comes together. So we've caught up with them again. So let them jog past before we do the same again. Now there we go. There are 2 males and 1 female in this pack. The female looks to be the middle dog. That's one of the males. It's just stopped now. Sniffing, sniffing. Okay. Now, Sheila is wondering, is there any news on the Investec pack? Last I heard, they denned inside the Kruger, Sheila. So we haven't seen them for a while. Okay, time to get moving again. You always got to keep up with the dogs, and that's one of the biggest challenges about following wild dogs, particularly in this area. It's what we call mixed broadleafed woodland or combretum woodland, so quite often it's quite thick. At the moment they're being really nice to us and trotting down a nice main road. So what we're doing is we're leaving the other vehicles directly behind them and we're keeping opposite them. What this means is if they do dash after an impala, we should be in the best spot. Okay, so they're opposite me now. What I'm going to do is just go through this dip, stop on that little crest up ahead, and then we can watch them come towards us. As I said, I'm also staying just ahead of them. I'm scanning for potential prey so we can plan to be in the best spot if they do dash. Now the biggest threat outside of disease and loss of habitat to the African wild dog is the lions. They are heading towards the lions, but they're still quite far away. Okay. Said we can watch them come through this little valley. Now, Mobile Paddy's wondering if I think the actual name wild dog hurts conservation efforts. Possibly, but I don't really think so. Of course, the other name is the painted wolf, and from their wonderful splotchy coats. And off they go again. Now, if they smell lions, they might change. Oh, there we go. That is called woo calling, and notice, like hyenas, they put their head to the ground and call straight at the ground, using the ground to amplify that sound so it can be heard from even further away. Mobile patio, I think maybe initially, many years ago, this term wild dog might have had negative connotations. I don't think so anymore. Oh, they've decided to switch lanes, and now they're in front of us. Now, the lions are just off to here, probably about 500 meters away. I think they might avoid that area. There we go, there's one directly opposite us. Stopping for a morning ablution. Oh, I just love the way they move. Nice camera work, Brian. And Brian's doing a fantastic job. That's not easy to follow an animal while we're moving. Oh, they found something smelly. Now, they like a good roll in smelly things, like most canines. And see scent marking. Now the whole pack will scent mark. And you can see that wonderful white tail. Now, like with most white distinguishing markers on wild animals, it is a following mechanism. So it's so the other dogs are able to see it, and woof, smelly, smelly. Now there's only one thing that makes lion dung smell quite pleasant, and that's wild dog dung. It is really, really vile. Hold on, hold on. Oh dear, we've lost sight of them. No, don't go that way. There are lions over there, you silly nanas. They're literally heading straight towards where the Nkuhumas are on that buffalo kill. Hold on. So we're about 500 meters to the north of the Nkuhuma Pride, and I'm going to show you right now the Nkuhuma Pride are they're heading straight towards the lions at the moment. Okay, so hopefully the lions are being fat and lazy and don't chase the dogs. Now this is quite worrying for everyone, for me in particular. Hopefully the dogs catch wind or hear the lions before. And they've got those massive radar dish ears. Okay, so if you have a look where that tree is there, that's where the lions are more or less. Actually, no, I think they might be a bit closer. Okay, Brian, get ready. I might stop the car because I think the lioness might charge out. Elizabeth in Singapore is wondering, will the wild dogs take on the lions like hyena for a carcass? They won't. Lions pose a massive threat to wild dogs. Oh, there we go. I think they just might have heard them. Okay, so we're coming up to the lions, as I said, where that tree is in the road. I think they might have smelt or heard. No, guys, run that way. Run the other way. There we go. Sensible. This move right, dogs. Move right. Oh. Now they might pick up the scent of the lions, hopefully for the dog's sake, before they get to the lions. can see they're suddenly looking a little bit nervous. They might have smelt the lions. Now the lions are probably 60 meters from here now. You can see they've stopped smelling around. Now, if they do spot the lions, they're likely to give a distressed bark. It's probably the most similar thing to a dog bark that a wild dog does. So, oh, you see it smelt lion down, it'll jump. They haven't heard the lions yet. Now my worry is that the lionesses might have spotted them and start stalking. But you can see lots of nerves at the moment. Yes, wise choice. Yes, good dogs. Good dogs. Yeah, no, they're out of here. No, they are out of here. They really don't like lions, as you can see. There we go. I'm a bit happier now, a little bit more relaxed. I'm just trying to see if one of the lionesses maybe came out, because they're right there. Doesn't look like it. So the lion's about 30, 40 meters away in there. Oh, they've already put another 100 meters between themselves and where the Nkuhumas are. As I said, lions are the biggest threat to African wild dogs in terms of natural predation, and especially when they've got dens. I have seen a lioness actually dig a puppy out of a den before. Okay, so while we catch up with the dogs again, let's go back to Steph and see how he's doing on bushwalk.
We're doing fine. We're actually hot on the trail of what sounds like a buffalo herd in front of us. I must be honest with you, it's starting to get exciting. We can hear the lowing and the mooing and basically just the bush gets this buzz or this underlying hum. Now, they're in front of us here somewhere, and this thick bush that you can see dominates our vision in front of us and takes it down to about 30 yards or so of visibility. So the trick with approaching buffalo is to keep the wind in your face. They'll react quite badly to the smell, just like those wild dogs did to the lion. So what we want to do is keep the wind basically either blowing sideways like it is now, or in our faces. So because those buffalo are there, a wind coming crossways is not too much of a problem. We're actually okay there. And we'll walk a couple of steps, stop and listen. Walk a couple of steps, stop and listen. And hopefully we'll catch up with this buffalo herd at some point. But come along and you'll see how the bush around us sort of changes over here. What we want to try and do is not get caught by walking into either the front of this herd or the back of this herd unawares. You'll see here, the easiest way to do it is basically to pick a pathway, and you can almost see the pathway that we're going to be taking through this bush. You can almost see it to that thick bush on the other side there, and that is where we're going to stop and listen again. So we walk up to that point, keeping as quiet as we can, watching where our feet go. Ex-Ranger, you've actually asked a question this morning that Jandre and I have been debating for some time. You've asked what makes a master tracker. Excuse me. So ex-Ranger, master tracker is an honorary qualification that a senior, that a tracker will be awarded by his peers underneath a system called the Cyber Tracker system. The Cyber Tracker system was developed by a man called Louis Liebenberg, who basically is responsible for modern tracking and the value placed on modern tracking as it is today. He's really pioneered an industry around tracking worldwide. And you get a couple of different levels. You get a level 1 tracker, level 2 tracker, level 3 tracker. Then you get invited to senior tracker evaluations. So you hold a ticket, an invitation ticket. Only 9 of these tickets are issued ever at a time. So you get a ticket, basically that's a level 4, a level 3 tracker who has a ticket. You then go to senior tracker evaluation and you can be awarded, if you pass, your senior tracker qualification. And then you are a senior tracker. There's no qualification above that, but you can be awarded a master tracker qualification by your peers. So far, there's only ever been 2 master trackers in the world. One unfortunately passed away last year, a gentleman by the name of Wilson Messia, and the other one is a gentleman called Adrian Lowe, who's very much alive and living in a little town called Nailstrom, which is on the Highveld, probably about 600 miles or so from where we are right now. So can you be a master of your trade and be a master tracker? You can of course be a master tracker. You can be a master trailist, you can be a master specialist, but to hold the qualification of master tracker, to be called a master tracker, is a award that's gifted to you. But you can be a master of your craft without having that particular award. Hence me calling Herbert a master of his craft this morning. He definitely is. He's much better than any of us at the moment, and that in itself is fantastic. All right, so we're going to send you back over to James in the tent. We'll catch up with these buffalo.
Well, James Richard, I went back to quarantine clearings and I retrieved the buffalo with the eggies in it. But while I was doing that, look at what we found on top of it. Check out the microscope feed, everyone. This is a tiny little stick insect that looks unsurprisingly like a stick. And just look how it's changed color. See, it's gone blue as it's climbed onto my skin. I'm sure that's because my skin's reflecting a different kind of light. But this thing is tiny. It's probably about, well, it's about 2 centimeters long. And you can see his little eyes, his little feelers out the front there. Those are his feelers, pedipalps, and then 6 insect legs. Here he goes, crawling up my hand. What you don't want to do, of course, is have the insect crawl over your fingernails while looking at your fingernails with a microscope, because you will be sore, amazed, and shocked. All right, let's go back to the skull, if we don't mind, and let's look inside him. And I'll just show you inside. There are the eggs. Same eggs that we had during the Father's Day in June. And unfortunately, they don't seem to have hatched. Maybe the one on the top of the screen there is hatched, but I'm not really sure. I think that they are dormant, and we always said that we thought maybe the reptile had laid them at the wrong time. Then there's there are a few ants down the bottom there, you can see, just crawling about. Very difficult to focus. There are a couple of insect carcasses, and the reason there are insect carcasses, everybody, is because lurking there is either a spider or what I think is probably the remains of a spider's exoskeleton. But those ominous looking legs are quite something. Right, and then if we zoom further out, watch this. This is an amazing picture to me. There is the spider's web. Now this is probably a violin spider or something like that, which is a hunting spider more than a web-building spider. But they will build webs in order to sort of wrap up their prey. And there you can see that little black bit there is a bit of a wrapped insect exoskeleton, the chitinous sort of piece of that. So I think that's quite interesting. We'll have one last look at those eggies, and then we're going to go into an advertisement break. Just remember, while you're away, go and make your coffee quickly if you'd like. We've had wild dogs, we've had lions, and Steph, of course, hot on the trail of some buffalo, so that will be fascinating. Let's just find where that chap's gone. Here's our little insect fellow. There he is. And we'll have one last look at him. Come back just now to see the progress of the wild dogs and the buffalo. Bye-bye. Right, let's head back to the wild dogs, everybody. They are going crazy.
So they've crossed into the north of us. I was hoping they were going to come terrorize a herd of buffalo, but they could easily come back. But the reason they've decided to go around is literally there were about 200 buffalo in their way. So let's go look at them. The tail end of the herd now. Now what I'm hoping is those wild dogs come back around. Now let's have a look. This is the first big herd of buffalo I've seen in a while. So with the droughts, I just want to have a look at the condition. And what I have noticed, and I think you will notice more and more with this drought, if we look carefully in a big herd like this, is normally we see lots of little babies. And at the moment, I'm not seeing any. I can see some sub-adults. This is an old female looking at us here now. Not looking too bad. Hips are starting to show a bit. As I said, normally with these big herds of buffalo, lots and lots of little babies around. At the moment, we're not seeing any. Now, with buffalo, quite often during a drought, they can be stillborn. And the other thing is, what happen is that they die quite quickly. Adult females. We're starting to see a bit of. There's a couple of sub-adults. There's a sub-adult bull there, stopped and looked at us for a second. There's a big herd. I guess 200 to 300 easily, maybe a few more. See, there's quite a few adult bulls with these herds. Now these are the breeding males, not like the old boys we see often around the Nkuhuma Pan. Those are sort of retired gentlemen who can't keep up with the strain of fighting for females in a herd, but there's one who can. He's not looking too bad. There's another young bull behind him, but none of those tiny little fluffy babies we're not used to seeing in these big herds. I do love all the sounds that you hear with the buffalo herd, the scuffing of the hooves, the lowing. Now, lucky for them, the Nkuhumas already have a buffalo. Welcome back. We've lost the wild dogs as they ran into this massive herd of buffalo. It's probably 200 to 300 individuals in this herd, and they're busy moving probably towards water at the moment. And you can have a look. Lots and lots of buffalo. We're actually completely surrounded. They're 360 degrees around us. And remember, if you have any questions, use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and I'll see if I can answer your question, not open it. Now, those wild dogs went north, and I think they were trying to avoid this big herd of buffalo. As you can see, We're right here, and the buffalo are crossing through. There's some water holes to the north of us, and I think they've been feeding on the seeplines in the south, and now are making the long trek to water. We are right at the end of our dry season. It is also the worst drought in recorded history. It's a hard time for a buffalo, but a good time to be a lion, a wild dog, or a leopard. Now, we're right on the edge of the herd at the moment. The majority of them have crossed, but they still, I actually think this is a bit bigger than I initially thought. I think they're probably closer to 400 individuals in this herd, but they are heading across our northern Traverse area in search of water. Now, from a big herd of buffalo, let's go see what Steph's found on foot.
We actually have the same herd of buffalo that Brent is in, but we finally managed to catch them. We've on top of a termite mound here, and it looks like at the tail end of that herd that you were just with Brent and those wild dogs. Isn't this fantastic? I can't hear anything. There really could only be this big herd of buffalo in this particular area, so, and we are in roughly the same area. We've got still many buffalo, probably about, you can see a skinny buffalo coming through there, another skinny buffalo coming through there. We're on top of a termite mound here. We're relatively safe where we are now. Buffalo, although they will come up to the base of a termite mound, will very rarely come onto it to try and chase us. And as long as we just keep the wind in our favor, so every now and again, although it's gusting, I just make sure that we're keeping our ash bag ever present. But there you can see some more buffalo coming through. It looks like they're walking almost in single file. They're definitely going somewhere. And we're just surrounded by this rustling in the bush. The lowing, the low hum. When buffalo move through the bush, it's no distinct noise. But what it does do is it gives you this buzz, it gives you this feeling. It's just such an awesome experience to be close on foot with these. So Bill, you've just asked me which buffalo are the pathfinders. Bill, a buffalo herd is made up of family groups, and in each family group there will be pathfinders, and the largest family in the herd will have the most pathfinders, and those pathfinders then choose the path for the day. The pathfinders are usually the buffalo that are in front of the herd. There will be a couple of buffalo in front of the herd, although not always. The pathfinder is basically the buffalo or the buffalo that decide where the herd will move for that day. With a herd on the move like this is at the moment, it would be virtually impossible without being right in the front of the herd to show you exactly which is the pathfinder. But it doesn't mean that there aren't pathfinders even in the buffalo that are still surrounding us. The reason being is that each family unit inside the buffalo herd has its own pathfinder, or couple of pathfinders in actual fact. What actually makes a pathfinder? We don't really know. We don't really know why a buffalo is born a pathfinder. Does he choose to be a pathfinder? Is he elected at being a pathfinder? Do they fight to become pathfinders? Those answers to those questions we don't know just yet. Well, at least not in the literature that I've managed to read about buffalo. We're very close to this one big bull buffalo now. They're just streaming out of the bush. We must have had easily 200 buffalo pass us already. You'll see one now coming over our shoulder over there through the bush. That's a big old bull buffalo. Prime bull buffalo. He's still walking with the herd. Relatively good condition. See, his horn has been broken off. Looks like, at least anyway. Now, these are the guys that flank the herd and protect it from being eaten by lions. Buffalo herds are formidable. You see, he's just heard us now. Have a look at that. You might find that he'll rush off in a second. He's just busy assessing the danger. There we go, boy. Decided that we were worthless as a threat. I don't think I've ever been so casually dismissed by a buffalo in my life. There they go. With the largest bulls being peppered basically through this herd, offering their protection. Right, we're going to follow this herd at a discreet distance, see if we can go from termite mound to termite mound. See if we can get you a little bit of a better visual. But in any case, we're going to send you over to Jamie all around Cheetah Plains for an update.
What an incredible morning you've all been having on Nkuhuma. Meantime, a little bit further to the east, Cheetah Plains is all a little bit quiet. That being said, we've just stumbled upon a very, very exciting discovery, and I'm going to see if I can find a good place to show you. It's not the easiest view, but we'll try. The light's gone all a bit dark and cloudy. I'm sort of hoping it might decide to rain on us, but I think that might be hopeful to the point of foolishness at this point. So, you've been with the Nkuhumas and their lovely cubs with Brent. We found a different set of tracks. We've got lion tracks wandering along the road, complete with cubs as well. Now, it's very, very difficult to see in this light, but these are little lion cub tracks here. This is the back of their feet, and then their little toes, all going across in this direction. And there's lots and lots here. So the adult females are walking along. These are the tiniest set. I think this is the tiniest set of cubs. And then there's also some older ones wandering east along this road. Now, nobody's found the lions today. I thought I heard a lion softly calling in the distance close to the Mala boundary, and I'm hoping that that might be them. And since our leopard decided to bounce across to Kruger National Park, let's hope that our lions haven't decided to do the same thing. And these look relatively fresh. This is where Brent had them last night on the sunset safari, just a little bit further to the west of me, at a place called Nkuhuma Dam, interestingly enough. The same as Nkuhuma that we know and we're driving around on. Okay. Let's trundle along here and see if we get lucky. Well, the nice thing about lions feeding when you're trying to look for them, so with the Nkuhumas you might have noticed, particularly with the cubs, how much noise there is around a carcass. Lots of growling, and particularly the cubs constantly giving off a little yowling sound. And that is hopefully what's going to give the sticks position away. I'm thinking, from what we saw yesterday, that they would also have been on the hunt last night. It was cloudy, it was windy, perfect hunting. The Nkuhumas were successful, so hopefully the sticks were as well. Still got their tracks here, going straight that way. Now, while we concentrate on figuring out which way these lions have gone, let's go over to James in the tent with something feathery.
I fought it off me, everybody. It's a bearded woodpecker. It has been dead for some time, I'm afraid. It was killed yesterday. It killed itself. It flew into a window, and Gendre very kindly retrieved it. Now, if you are a young viewer, please observe. This is hand cleanser. What you want to do if you've been playing with a bird, dung, bones, anything like that, you must wash your hands or put some of that sort of stuff on it, because you never know. You're always putting your hands to your face to, I don't know, wipe your nose or wipe your chin or scratch your cheek or something like that. And now this bird is, well, he's looking a little rough. But there are a few things about a woodpecker that are interesting. The first is he has this immensely long tongue. And what I'm trying to do is just pry open his mouth and see if we can't have a look in there. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more work to try and get that out. Then the second thing I wanted to show you is the back of the tail here, Dave. In the back of the tail, you can see how stiff these two ridges are. Can you see those two very thick ridges on the feathers, everybody? Those allow the woodpecker to brace himself against a tree when he's making that incredible sound. And in fact, just in the background, which you won't be able to hear on the current microphone, there is another bearded woodpecker going da, 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 and they brace themselves. You can see these are really stiff, short feathers that they brace themselves against the side of a tree with. Then let's have a look at what we call zygodactyl feet. The zygodactyl feet here, they are 2 claws facing frontwards and 2 claws facing backwards. I hope these are not going to snap off. Oh dear, I think we may have just broken a bone there, but that's all right. The woodpecker is beyond feeling that these days. There are the 2 in front. Can you see that, Darby?
Yes.
2 in front there, those 2, and the 2 at the back there, those 2. And what they do, of course, very effectively hold onto the tree, brace with the tail there, and then this incredible chisel-like bill, which I'll turn towards you now, is able to dig away. I'm afraid this particular woodpecker's drilling days is over. David, the appropriate name for the woodpecker?
Would be Woody.
Woody the woodpecker, exactly. Very nice. Now this one was a male. You can tell that by his little red cap. And of course, they're all got a red cap, but the littlest one around here, the cardinal woodpecker, has the most obvious red cap, and you can see why he would be, very similar to this, but you can see why he would be called a cardinal, because it looks rather like the bishop's cap. Now, we can have a look at this with the microscope as well. Let's have a look at the top of the skull, top of the head, the red feathers. There we go. Now, ever since we found those lions the other day with their sarcoptic mange, which is caused by a mite, we have been desperately trying to find a mite. Now, mites you would definitely find on birds much of the time. Right, let's come back to me, Bex. I'll just go to the golden tails at the golden feathers at the back. I'll just go to the golden feathers at the... Oh, let's just go anyway. There we go. Look at that color. How cool is that? Now that color, everybody, is caused by carotenoids, which are a sort of a pigmenty type thing, and the yellows and reds and oranges caused by carotenoids. Just about every single other color that you'll ever see on a bird caused by melanin and tricks of melanin and the crystals of melanin in between air sacs in the rest of the feathers. No greens except in the lories, of course. Right, back to us. So that's our pal Woody. We're going to put him back in the freezer. We want to maintain him because he's a rather magnificent fellow, so I think we'll probably maintain him. I'm also going to try and see if I can't extract his tongue for you, because the tongue goes all the way from there. You can just see the end of it sticking out there. And what it does is it goes all the way through the back of the skull and around the side of the back of the brain here inside, which I just think is absolutely astounding. Right, we're about to go to another advertisement break. I think you call them commercial break there in the United States, so we'll call it a commercial break for you. And just before we do that, I'm going to show you something else. Steph showed you... No, he didn't actually. Never mind what I said there. But what we have here is the swelling caused by what we call a gall midge, and that lives on the silver cluster leaf tree. And we're going to have a quick 10-second look at it under the microscope, and you can see where all the little midges have popped out. Isn't that cool? I think that's rather amazing. So lots of little midges came out of those holes there. Right, don't go away too far, everybody. Go and make your coffee if you'd like to. Come back to the buffalo. Maybe Jamie will have lions. It's all going to be exciting for the next few hours. We'll see you very shortly. And we're still with the internet audience. Lovely to be with you. Obviously, we're not really in an advert break at all. But if you would like to go and make some coffee, please do feel welcome to do so. In the meantime, why don't we have a look at some zebra dung? There it is. A beautiful piece of dung, isn't it, David?
Yes.
Yes. Excellently formed piece of dung. And this is why I say to you, of course, that you do need to wash your hands. You don't want to be handling dead woodpeckers, dung, bones, hyena fragments and that sort of thing without washing your hands. And if you look inside it, you can see that the zebra has been feeding on grass almost exclusively. And I'm going to break this up, put it under the microscope and see if there are any mites in there. While we do that, Stefan is still trailing the buffalo herd, which I hope very fervently is going to arrive with Ronald the Rover fairly shortly.
We have stopped following that buffalo herd actually. We've decided that it was getting a little bit too thick and the termite mounds were getting too few and far between to remain safe. So what we've done is we've walked in the opposite direction to those buffalo, and we're heading to a landmark, that green tree that you see way down there. I want to go and see, I know it's a weeping boer bean from here, but I want to go and see if we can see any flower buds on it. My quest at the moment. All right, we're just quickly send you over to Jamie so we can reboot this bush pack quickly.
Bushwalk, I've been for a little stroll myself. The lion tracks have disappeared straight off into the block to my left. It's a massive, massive block. And what we're doing now is just looping around the area to see whether or not they pop out on the other side. Let's see whether we can't figure out where the sticks have gone at some point last night. Everything seems to have gone into hiding on Cheetah Plains. Perhaps the weather, perhaps the windiness. All the animals have or it was the fact that an entire lion pride walked straight through this area. Okay. I actually have no idea where I am. I have a rough idea where I am. I have no idea what this road is called. Oh, I think I've hit the boundary. Marvellous. I do know where I am now. To my right, left, a cheetah.
We're just looking at various things. Sorry about that. The slight signal breakup, southern reaches of Cheetah Plains, not entirely unexpected. Right. It's got me a little unawares. I haven't managed to get hold of the woodpecker's tongue yet. I'm just going to quickly put the zebra dung underneath the microscope. And there we are. Unsurprisingly, David, it looks like chewed up grass.
Yes.
That's not very surprising, really, is it?
No.
Not entirely from the top drawer of fascination, I'd say. In fact, this might be the very last time that I look at zebra dung underneath a microscope. I suppose if you were artsy-fartsy, you might find that quite an attractive picture. But I think it's fairly disappointing. Right, but just before we go back into TV, let's, obviously that's imaginary TV, but let's try and open up this woodpecker's beak. This is going to be probably slightly difficult for those who are sensitive viewers. I can hear the ladies in the final control going, ugh. It is dead, everybody, don't worry. We've just been watching a buffalo being eaten by lions, so really I don't think this is too bad at all. But there's the tongue. That is so cool. Look at that. How cool is that, everyone? I just got to tell you, there's a great wailing and gnashing of teeth going on in the final control right now. They're all scandalized that I've managed to do this live. We are going to show the imaginary TV audience as well, but I'm just going to try and open his beak further. There we are, we just wedge it open like that.
Just present it to me a little more.
Okay. How's that, Dave?
There we go.
There we are. Look at that. I'm sorry if you had to witness that and you found it slightly offensive, everyone. But he doesn't look very happy, does he, David?
No, David.
I must just reiterate, he is dead. He's very dead. He's frozen solid. We put him into excuse me. We put him into the freezer last night. Okay, when we come back to TV, we're going to go to a map. Here we go. Right, check it out everybody. Welcome back. You're on a live safari from there, the most beautiful country in the world, South Africa. We're on the eastern western fringes of the Kruger National Park. There you can see us on Djuma in the north, Arathusa to the west, and then Jamie on Rusty down to the east on Cheetah Plains, where she's looking for some lions. Now, this is going to disturb some of you. Well, I hope it won't. It's not particularly delicious to look at, but you did watch lions eating on a buffalo earlier, so I think you'll be okay with it. Look, I've got the tongue out here. Now, there it is. And I'm just going to stick my knife into it. It's all rather grim, to be honest, but it is fascinating. Let me use this feather rather to point it out. It's incredibly sharp at the end there. Can you see that?
Yes.
And it's hard. It's got a really hard edge. You know what your tongue feels like. That bit that I'm pointing to there is a kind of soft bit like your tongue. But it sharpens into the spear, and on the spear you might be able to see some barbs. Let's try and perhaps stick the microscope on those barbs, and we'll just try and see what they look like in greater detail. At the moment all I can get is the shiny part of there it is. Wait, hang on a sec. Yep, there you go, Bex. There you are. There are the barbs on the end of the tongue. So that silver bit is the tweezers, but that sharp bit there is the tongue. Let's come back to me. I think I'm shaking a bit. Now, X-Ranger, you're interested to know when I'm going to ask for an X-ray machine in the tent. I've already done that, X-Ranger. We're hopefully going to get a full MRI machine placed just out the back of the shelves fairly shortly. Now, the point of this spear-like tongue, of course, with the barbs on it, is that it stabs into the holes that the woodpecker drills. And remember, the tongue is very long. It reaches all the way around the back of the skull. And I'm not going to crack that open for you now. I think that might be a little bit disgusting. But this thing spears insects out of their holes. So it'll go and look for wood-boring beetles and that sort of thing, stab this tongue into the holes and pull them out and swallow them. And that is how the brilliance of the woodpecker has evolved to adapt to various environments that or a whole food source that most other animals are unable to get at. Let's head across to Stefan Winterboer, who's feeling loving.
We got to this weeping boerbean and I am feeling loving. This is another one of those giant trees that you just have to spend some time around. But this one has afforded us the chance for me to tell you about the weeping, where the name weeping boerbean comes from. Weeping comes from the fact that this tree's bark runs with sap in the summertime. You can actually see it starting in the leftover residue. This is a sap run. You can see here's an old one, and all this white discoloring that you can see is the evaporated sugars that are left behind on the bark when this tree is in summer. This must just be such a spectacular sight in summer. Definitely a tree that I'm going to be returning to as the season grows progressively deeper into the wet season. But just have a look at all of this. I've just been tasting it actually. It's quite high in sugar. Now for those of us who have a sweet tooth, little bits and pieces of sap, tree sap like this, wouldn't actually do anything for us. They're not sweet enough, but
we're live. All right, everybody, we're still fiddling with our woodpecker, but there you've got an even better look at the tongue. Okay, isn't that amazing? We're just trying to get it into a position where you can really appreciate the amazing nature of this tongue. I'm going to try and pull it further out, but I'm not going to do that while live because it might snap off, and that's going to result in people being probably quite violently ill on the other side of the globe, and nobody wants that at all, do they? No. Now, why don't we put a little bit of this on our hands, David? See? Yes. Let's do that. And I was going to go and show you a map, but we'll wait for that. I'll prepare it in the meantime. Let's head across to Bushwalk. I think Stefan is still feeling loving.
I'm loving amber. That's about the only thing that I'm loving to tell you at the moment. I wanted to teach you a little bit about how amber's formed. Amber is fossilized tree sap. So this would be a sap run. An insect would come and get stuck on the sap while they're feeding on the sugars, and then the sap would gradually go over the insect, trapping it inside. And here you can see a bubble of air trapped inside this tree sap. This is not amber yet. It hasn't been fossilized just yet, but that is a future piece of amber. Isn't that awesome? I'm going to be taking that back to James in his tent. What I'm trying to look for you is actually an insect that is trapped. They're very common to find insects trapped in this amber. Although I must be honest with you, I think we're going to have to wait for this tree to start weeping properly before we're going to find any of that. This isn't any fresh sap here, and so insects are not being drawn to the tree by the fresh sap. But as soon as this tree flowers, as soon as it starts weeping, we're going to start seeing these sap runs become more and more prolific. But this tree is so healthy and it's so green at the moment because it's growing on a termite mound, and we call that a nutrient hotspot. In this particular case, it is nutrient rich because of the fungus gardens that these termites produce, and water rich because the termites need water to grow their fungus. And so, relatively speaking, the termite mounds have a much higher water content, they're much better aerated, they've got much more nutrients and micronutrients and trace nutrients used by the tree, and that is why in this forest of grey we have this island of green that you can see right here. Let's go a little bit away from the tree so you can see its full majesty. And you can see the termite mound that it's growing on top of. It really is just a phenomenally beautiful tree. No flower buds just yet at all, but it will come. Have a look at that. Very, very awesome. And you can see from quite a distance away, you can see that white residue on the bark. And that is why we came here. All right. Awesome. We're going to send you over to Brent, who's got an update for you.
So unfortunately those dogs seem to have gone north into the Manyaleti. So they've crossed out of Buffelshoek. So we are heading slowly back towards the Nkuhumas and their buffalo kill. We decided to do some bird watching on our way, and I'm hoping the bird that's been giving us the most problems to put on camera recently is, of course, tiny little but very beautiful sunbirds. There's a couple of knob thorns flowering up ahead, and I'm hoping that they were going to find at least one sunbird in one of them. So the most common sunbird species we get here is the white-bellied sunbird, but recently we've also seen a Mariko sunbird, a very beautiful dark green, black and purple sunbird, and we're still waiting to get the scarlet-chested. I've only seen it in the garden at Inga's so far. Now, the best way to find sunbirds is to listen, because they've got a wonderful high-pitched little call. But we'll see if there are any other birds that might be around as well. Of course, the moment you start looking for birds, they disappear. Remember, if you do have any questions for us, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Oh, he's landing right next to us. Well, there we go. Ooh, oh, that was, he flew straight at us. There was a Birchall starling. Andrew is wondering, what is the loudest bird? I'm not sure, Andrew. Probably, I think an African fish eagle might be quite high up there. And the noisiest bird is probably the grey go-away bird or the arrow-marked babbler. But the loudest, Haididar ibis is another very loud and noisy one. The fish eagle call seems to, for me, to just echo through. I can hear a sunbird. Where are you hiding? Now, this is always a challenge, the sunbirds. They're very small, they're very fast. Now, of course, they keep quiet when I'm trying to listen for them. Okay. Oh, he's gone. He flew away. Anyway, let's keep moving. So someone's just calling me on the Game Drive channel. Oh, there's one there. Oh, where's he going? Can we see where he lands? He landed in that little bush willow. And so in the gap between the quarry and the bigger bush willow, looked like he landed in there. Because they're so small. Oh, they're just teasing us, Brian, teasing us. Standing by. Copy that. Teasing us, these sunbirds. Now, the reason I'm putting such effort into finding one of these little creatures, they are exquisitely beautiful little birds, so it is worth the hunt. So while we keep hunting for birds, while we make our way back towards the incredible Nkuhuma pride, let's go see what Jake's got.
Still hot on the heels of the Styx Pride, but we've been distracted by one of the loveliest antelope species that we get out here. A beautiful group of female kudu. Let's go forward a little bit. We're right on the northern boundary with Nkoro, where we can't follow them, but perhaps they know where the lions are, because they were going, the lion tracks, the last set that I found, going straight towards 3 in a row pan, on top of all of the vehicle tracks, so there's a very good chance they're around here somewhere. Hello, pretty girls. Our kudu slowly wandering off, stopping for a quick nibble on some young leadwood trees. And those white stripes that look as though somebody has sort of dripped paint down their sides serve a very important function for an antelope that lives in thick, dense vegetation. Helps to break up the outline of the kudu. So essentially, especially for predators that don't have vision that is as good as ours, helps to keep them hidden away. And we're fortunate to have such a close view of this particularly often quite shy antelope. They usually prefer to be hidden behind some vegetation, but we've got a lovely view of this kudu cow with her white dots around her face. Just watch the way her nimble lips sort of gather up the leaves that she wants. At the same time, those big eyes protected by long eyelashes as she sticks her face into what is actually a very spiny tree. And each and every kudu comes with a unique stripe pattern. So every one will have a completely different combination. Sometimes they split off to the side, some are closer together than others. It's basically like a human fingerprint, or the whisker spots on a lion, or a leopard. Completely unique to them. Fluffy white underside of their tail. People say that's a follow me signal. So when a kudu is alarmed, they stick up their tail and they dash off into the vegetation. And the idea behind the white is that it's an easy way for them to stay grouped together, so that they don't lose each other when they're running away from something. I think it serves a slightly different function. I think it's almost flash coloration. So with their tails up, as they dash away from a predator, if you watch what they do, they'll often run a little way away with their tails up and that white clearly visible, and then stop as soon as they feel safely hidden and drop their tails. So predators' eyes that will automatically be attracted to the white will not know exactly where that animal has gone. They were glancing anxiously over their shoulders towards 3 in a row pan, and I'm hoping that that means that the lions were somewhere there. There's a young one. And see the total different combination of stripes. Very, very beautiful, graceful antelope. With enormous radar-like ears, geared towards hearing things at a far away distance, and at the same time moving independently to pinpoint the noise's exact location. See how she keeps glancing across. It is a little bit breezy, which might make them more nervous than usual. Despite their slender look, they are antelope that are capable of clearing 2 meters in height from a standing start. I've seen a kudu jump a fence before. It's an incredible thing to witness. Those legs, though they look skinny, are very, very powerful. One of the best of the antelope jumpers. Beautiful. Okay, kudu. I'm going to try and move on and see if we can't figure out where these lions have gone. Those tracks are so fresh. They must have come through. I'm going to go concentrate and see whether or not they went for a drink at 3 in a row pan. If they didn't, then we know that they are definitely in that block. In the meantime, let's jump all the way back across towards Djuma and find out what other wonderful things James has for you in the tent.
I have got my wonderful art skills to show you, everybody. I'm sure that you are so amazed and excited to see what I have to draw. Now, this is particularly dedicated to Rebecca in the final control, who loves the following sound. Let me just make it nice and clear for her. Do you hear that, Rebecca? Very nice. Okay, now she would have run out of the final control and be rolling around in the sand. What I wanted to quickly do, everybody, is show you the territory size of the Styx Pride, which Jamie is looking at, or for, sorry, and of course the Nkuhuma Pride, who you saw earlier with Brent Leo Smith. They've actually got quite a nice delineation. Brent is currently at Djuma Dam. He's knocking about over here, but the cats themselves this morning were over here, right on their boundary. There they are. That's an adult lioness there. And here's a cub, much smaller. You see that, David?
Yes, John.
You see I've made one bigger than the other.
Beautiful.
Yes. Okay, buffalo, please, is all I've got. Oh, you want to draw the buffalo? Of course, yes. The dead buffalo looks like this. And that's its tongue. Wait, we need the red pen. Hang on a sec, Dave. To indicate death, of course, we need to just put the tongue sticking out. There we go. And perhaps a bit of offal. There we are. Okay, very nice. Now we can draw the territory size. And basically they're on the southern boundary of their territory. Treehouse Dam is over here. And Treehouse Dam is a nice line. There's basically a drainage line that runs like this. And it cuts the territory very neatly. And the Styx Pride then goes down into what we call, well, there's a whole lot of little properties here. There's Hoffman's, Little Gowrie, and this is the Styx I'm drawing now, into Mala Mala, up through Cheetah Plains, and the southern end of Torchwood. It's actually really nice sort of easy way to, or easy territory, if you like. Then the Nkuhumas, they have a territory slightly larger, well, there are slightly more of them, and they go quite the opposite way, up through the Arathusa, into Simbambili, past the gate. This is community land here. And then into Buffelshoek, probably about halfway through Buffelshoek, where they're replaced by the Talamati Pride, down into Torchwood, and if they're really extending themselves, they do go east into the Kruger Park that way. But otherwise, their territory has this slight overlap there. And Nkuhuma Pride is actually currently now, they've moved from that stinking buffalo. We'll just make some smelly signs there. And oh, sorry, the buffalo is apparently on Gowrie Main, so it's just south there, and basically they're right on the border of their territory. So that's the territories of the Nkuhuma Pride and the Styx. There we go. And Nkuhuma. Right, very nice. And we'll just quickly draw you a Styx cub. Yeah, slightly large scale. And the Styx cubs, of course, have mange, which is like a pox. Very nice. Okay, Brent is back with the Nkuhuma Pride on Gowrie Main, just over here.
So we're back with the Nkuhuma Pride. It's a little bit calmer now, and they're all looking very happy and fat. Only one lioness feeding at the moment. The cubs lying all about. They're still making noises, of course. Bow. That is a happy little lion. There's one female who's just moved right behind us. I'm just trying to see what she's up to. This little cub has been watching her. Hey, you. There we go. So, look at those little rotund bellies. Oh. I'm very happy Nkuhuma Pride. There's a game going on here. This little one is stalking. Looks like it's stalking the lioness, who is busy making a large deposit right behind us. Better be careful when we drive out of that one. So stealthy, little one. No, decided it's been spotted. Oh, he's still going to go for it. Oh, well, we wait to see what happens here at the Nkuhumas. Let's go across to Jamie, who's got the other apex predator out here in the African bush.
What a lovely surprise. This is the first time I've seen a spotted hyena on Cheetah Plains. I know they're around. I've seen their tracks before. What's attracted its attention? This is the first time I've seen one. Very, very exciting. I wonder if this is one of the hyena responsible for munching on that buffalo. We're not too far away from that buffalo carcass, although this hyena doesn't look too full. Finished his breakfast drink. Let's try and catch up with him. See how nervous it is. I think that's because the lions have been around, and I think it can smell them somewhere around here. Absolutely love seeing spotted hyena. Oh, is he going to come back? That's a good sign. Come back and finish your drink. It'll be very interesting to see if this is a hyena that we have seen before on our live safaris. I'll stick my neck out and say probably not. I'm relatively certain that the Cheetah Plains hyena are a different clan to the one that we're used to seeing on Nkuhuma. We're quite far away from their territorial areas. And this could well be a hyena that spends a great deal of time in the Kruger National Park, for example, with our proximity to that boundary. See it looking around? It is nervous. It's definitely very nervous. It was still thirsty, but wanted to just make sure that it was safe with its head down like that. Jumpy. Very jumpy. I think this hyena knows that these lions are somewhere around here. Going right into the water. Hyenas are water lovers, and on hot days they will absolutely go and lie right in the middle of a dam, wallow in the mud. Helps to keep them cool. They don't seem to share the same distaste that lions and leopards do for getting their feet wet. Lions and leopards can swim, but they prefer not to. Hyenas, on the other hand, will absolutely go right. There we go. Perfect example. Thank you very much, hyena. Bath time and a drink. What a predator-rich drive we've had this morning. From the lions to the wild dogs and now this spotted hyena. And as Brent said, pretty sure there was a bit of a spoonerism in there, as Brent said, they are one of the other apex predators, probably, depending on numbers, falling just below lions in terms of predator hierarchy. And that's because they have the advantage of numbers, living together in clans of well up to over 20 or 30 individuals that in times of need will all gather together to help, for example, chase lions off a buffalo kill, or even, although they have an unfair reputation of being thieves and scavengers, hunting together. And recently the hyena clan at Elephant Plains was thought to have brought down an adult male giraffe, just to give you an idea of just what amazing predators these creatures truly are. With their sloping backs and slinking walks, they definitely have earned a very unfair reputation. Ooh, hyena. I'm pretty sure that's where those lions are. Powerful intelligence and curiosity might even be going to investigate where the lions are to see whether or not they have a kill. You can see him listening, using that incredible sense of hearing as well as his sense of smell to double check that he's safe. Glancing back towards us. This is exactly, he's going in exactly the direction that the lion tracks were heading in. I've got one set of female tracks coming in this direction. They obviously chased some buffalo last night onto Nkuhuma, were unsuccessful and came back. The reason I know that is from their tracks. So female came back along this route. I'm going to try and stick with this hyena, I think, because there's a good chance it might lead us to the lions. But while we do that, let's go back over to bushwalk.
Talking about lions and all the kills that we've been seeing, we're sitting amongst a bunch of bone shards from a kill, and what you're watching me doing is making a bone tool, a bone knife, for lack of a better word. This is where some lions managed to inhale a zebra. We've got the bottom jaw of a zebra here, we've got the rest of the bottom jaw of the zebra there. That's how it would have fitted in. Have a look at this. Isn't that incredible? And just watch the zebra's teeth. Have a look at that. The angle on them gave me an idea for making a bone tool. I wanted to know if these teeth of these zebra could shave off the piece of tambuti wood I've picked for James, and I'm keeping in a backpack. And the tambuti wood proved a little bit too much for the zebra's bottom jaw. This is quite manky. But what it did give me was this massive piece of bone shard. And I don't know about you, but I find that there is an edge. I don't quite know how sharp I can get that edge. But what I'm going to try and do is see if I can shave some hairs off my arms with it for you. No hairs just yet. Let's see how sharp it actually is. There I'm drawing a line. That's pretty sharp for a bone tool, I must be honest. That, without very much pressure, went straight through the skin there. Alright, so we're managing to get it at sharp, a little bit sharper. And I'm just using this now, working away from the edge, so not towards the edge, working away to the edge, and again. And what people would have used these for, these bone tools for, would be for skinning, cutting implements, for skinning an animal and utilizing all the different parts of that animal, the sinews, bits and pieces of bone. Okay, let's see. I'm not quite happy with that edge just yet. Let's see. Can you see there? How sharp is that? Let's drag it one more time across the skin over here. Light pressure. Definitely splitting the skin. So if I had to push hard, I'd actually be able to cut into my arm, which I don't really want to do. Especially since this has been chewed on by a lion. Lion saliva on the end of that. Not my favorite thing to introduce into my body, but I am going to keep this. I think it makes a nice tool. All right. Off we go. Let's carry on going with today's walk. I'm looking for a piece of zebra wood for James as well while we're on it. I want to bring him some interesting wood. Basically bring him some wood that we can show you under the microscope. Now Justin, you've asked me what knife is best in a survival situation. You know, I'm quite an avid lover of some blades and things. I'm not a knife collector myself. I have used a couple of knives in the bush. And I suppose it just depends on what your application is going to be. There's some dedicated skinning knives if you're going to be dressing carcasses. There are survival knives that allow you to hack through branches and clear bush and create a house. There are any number of different survival tools. I just use a general multi-tool, which gives me a little bit of everything. It gives me a pair of pliers. I can pick hot things up and wrench things around and pick up, you know, whatever I feel like. And then it gets a file, as you see, and a bunch of other things that we use from time to time. As to a knife, I carry a knife on my backpack. This one here. That I bought years ago when I was doing wilderness trails without a rifle, and only because the trackers that I've been working with for so many years carried knives like this in their pockets. Very rare to find a tracker out here that doesn't carry a fixed blade of some sort. So I carry it just not for protection. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to use it for. It's just there. But anyway, on that note, we're going to send you back over to James in tent.
Hello everybody, hello. Yes, I'm just fetching one or two things from here. I thought we'd do a little segment on teeth, but while I was down here I thought I would just investigate inside this giraffe's nasal cavity. He has very good nasal hygiene. Well done, Jerry. Not much in there to see. This chair is in the way again. Out it must go. Good. Okay. Now we have a number of different teeth here that I'd like to show you. I thought we'd do a tooth section because Steph was basically recreating a lion's tooth there through that bone that was used, as he said, to scrape meat off skin at various stages. Of course, what he failed to mention to you, of course, is that the Bushmen and the people who used to live in here pre the Iron Age didn't have leathermen with which to create their bone tools. But that's okay. So we have here the jaw of not an ass, but indeed of probably an impala. It looks like impala tooth. There we are. And what you can see this side, if we turn it around, is where the teeth are actually erupting from the jawbone. See that? Which is quite cool, I think. Right? That's one tooth. Then we've got a buffalo tooth here. And what we can do is have a look at it under the microscope. The buffalo tooth, of course, has got two different parts to it, just like our teeth have, most of our teeth. They've got dentine and they've got enamel. And the dentine is the softer bits in the middle, and the enamel is what makes those ridges. And you can see it wears out a lot more slowly than does the dentine wears down much faster than the enamel. There we go. Okay, now let's have a look and see if this buffalo had any cavities, if he was a toffee eater or not. He was not a toffee eater. Let's have a look-see. There we are. That is those white bits there, the enamel ridges, and inside there are some sand-covered dentine, and there you can see the dentine cracking. You see that? So that's from just constant abuse and use. It's not abuse, of course. A buffalo doesn't eat anything other than what he's supposed to eat, which is grass, but chewing and chewing and chewing constantly. And I know that, I used to ride horses, and we used to have to get the vet in every so often to file the horse's teeth down, because a herbivore has to eat, has to chew so much. And quite interesting, quite interestingly, sorry, I was just listening to a question there because I had to listen carefully. What I was trying to say there is that, of course, during the chewing process, the teeth are worn down, which means they must keep growing all the time. So on domestic animals, if we come back to me, Laura, Laura, back to me, Rebecca, please. Thank you so much. The teeth of a horse don't wear down because they obviously eat nuts, pony nuts mainly, and a bit of lucerne and some roughage here and there, but they don't chew nearly as much grass. And Laura, you want to know if the gull groove that occurs on a horse's tooth occurs on a zebra's tooth. I don't know. I've got no idea, I'm afraid. I don't know what the gull groove is, to be honest. I will try and find out, and then I would assume that because a zebra is so closely related to a horse that it probably does indeed have a gull groove, whatever that is. Now, sorry I can't be of more use to you in that particular respect there. Now, we've got two other teeth here. Of course, the canine of a warthog, very large canine, and you can see where the root went. That would have been the root that went in there and kept the tooth alive. Now, a canine like this is largely enamel. There's very little dentine in it. There we are. And so it's expensive to grow, and it takes a long time for a warthog to grow a tooth like that, and that's basically ivory. It's exactly the same thing. And then last tooth, of course, which we have shown you before, well, we've shown you both of these before, an elephant's tooth. Now, just quickly to let you know, before we go to the lion cubs, which I can see are now climbing about on the carcass, this is the incisor tooth from the elephant. That is the canine tooth from the warthog. Let's go and see how the canines, molars, incisors, and premolars of those lion cubs are being used to eat the buffalo.
More playing than eating, apart from one who's about to disappear inside that buffalo. The rest seem to be very full and more content to play around the carcass. You can just see a tail and a back leg of one.
One.
It is wonderful that we are able to spend as much time as we do with these incredible Nkuhuma cubs. Now, three of the lionesses are lying up on the edge of the drainage line, down away from the carcass down there in the bushes. You can just make them out through the bush there. The other two are still lying up close to the carcass. Well, so far no vultures, but I'm pretty sure they'll be out and about as it gets a bit warmer. This carcass is out in the open. I think the lions are going to stay pretty close to it to make sure that the vultures don't steal it. Well, look at that, playing King of the Buffalo. He's going to disappear inside. I'm quite interested to see what he looks like when he comes out of there. Well, at least there's no competition, because I don't think another cub could fit in. It's a burrowing lion. I didn't think, well, we're still trying to push it a bit deeper in. I don't know if you can get any much deeper than that. You can, apparently. Wendy's wondering at what age do the cubs start hunting on their own. Well, the males and the female cubs will probably start joining in hunts when they're between 2 and 3 years old. They're probably capable at 2 or 3 years old, but it's just very unlikely. Now, the rest of the cubs are moving down towards where the lionesses are lying in the thicket. Of course, there's still the burrowing lion cub. Let's just move everything that's going on. I really want to see what that cub looks like when it comes out of there. Is it going to be... Oh, no, it's going to be a very messy little cub when he gets out of there. Now, the rest of the cubs are running around and playing down below, so that's why we're moving. This looks like a good spot. Not too bad. Not looking too dirty. Having fun in there. You definitely increased your belly size while inside that buffalo. Talking. Give me a clean, please. Oh, here comes trouble to the left. Hey, guys. What are you two up to? Oh, look at this little one. They're just too gorgeous. Even when they've got buffalo stomach content all over them. Okay, well, we're going to keep sitting here seeing what the Nkuhuma cubs get up to. While we do that, James has got an interesting thing to show you at the waterhole.
Right, we do indeed have something interesting to show you at the waterhole. We've got some nyala. Let's go to Ronald's view. Let's go to, there he is. That's not Ronald's view, that is the dam cam's view. There you can see Ronald. That's me now, of course. And we'll go to Ronald's view now. There we are. There's Ronald's view. Wonderful. Hello, Ronald. Unfortunately, Ronald's camera is slightly exposing for the sky rather than for the nyala. So we've got a big bull who's looking at Ronald now, and a ringneck dove to the left of that, and then also some nyalas, but there are monkeys going to the right-hand side of that. If you look carefully, you can perhaps see the monkeys. The zoomy, I'm afraid, is not on the monkeys at the moment. Zoomy, if you wouldn't mind. Well, they're the monkeys. There were monkeys going to the right, and then now just behind the nyala on the left-hand side. So lots of action starting to happen here now at the Nkuhuma Dam. And I was rather hoping those buffalo might make their way down here. I can see now, we can see now why Ronald has a problem. You see, Ronald is immobile. If you look at him carefully, you can see there that he has a stone stuck in his track. And that is why he is unable to move at the moment. Poor Ronald. Sorry, Ronald. We'll rescue you shortly. Just send Alex down now to go and see if he can sort Ronald out. Let's have one more look at Ronald's view, because I think you'll find that we might get the monkeys again. But no, just some birdies. What a very fine view that has been. Very nice. Okay, while we sort out our sort of lucky packet and box of different bits and pieces of things, let's go and find out from Steph what he has found. I see his pack is full of interesting things for me.
You know, one of the best things about coming on foot with us into the bush is that we can get into all these places where you can't really get to the vehicle. Of course, unless you're Brent Smith, but normal human beings can't get to the vehicle. And we're in one of these places right now that's hemmed in by very, very steep-sided drainage lines. You can come and have a look here. There's a ravine here. Well, it's a steep ditch. There's just no ways that we'd be able to get a vehicle from one side to the other. And it's just this grove of really rare, precious trees. The most significant are, of course, a tree like this. This is a tambuti tree. And around us here, there are another 4 giants just like him. That one there, that one there, and then through the... Not only are they rare, but we've also got this lovely grove of these trees here. This is a baby sneezewood tree. Now, sneezewood trees in this particular area are almost non-existent. Big trees almost don't exist. And it's because the wood from this tree was used in shipbuilding, in particular ship repairs in the Cape. South Africa being a country that, let me see if I can, well, you're now going to force me to draw you something for you. This is going to... So, South Africa does that with Cape Town over here. And ships that were going from England in the Northern Hemisphere had to pass around Cape Town's Point before they went to the east to trade goods from the UK and from the east. And in Cape Town, quite often they used to dock to help repair their ships, because engineering at the turn of the last century wasn't as precise as what it is today. And quite often ships' propellers over the distance of the shaft had a wobble. And that wobble over time caused stress on the bearings, and those bearings failed. And what they used to do is, in Cape Town, they used to make a bearing out of this tree's wood. So much bigger trees used to be harvested, and the bearing used to look like this. I'm going to be drawing again. The bearing used to be a piece of wood that was shaped like this, and another piece of wood that also had a dish. And the shaft of the ship ran through the middle, and then these pieces of wood were clamped onto the shaft. This wood is incredibly hard and very resilient, but it is also jam-packed full of oil. So as the shaft used to rotate in this bearing, it used to produce heat, and that heat used to release the oil in the wood. So it was a self-lubricating wooden bearing. And because it was such an effective bearing casing or bearing repair, and because the Cape was such an important stop along the route, these trees were almost harvested to extinction. And to see a little grove of trees like this, I mean, we've got this baby one, this baby one, this one, that one, that one, that one, this one, all of these here. There's many baby sneezewoods. In a little grove like this, it's just very heartening to see. You know, it means that after all this time, we're actually doing a lot of good here, and it's for the less well-known things in the bush. Anyway, on that point, I'm going to leave my sneezewoods and go over to the lion cubs with Brent.
So, most of the pride is now moved off, away from the carcass. Of course, you can hear the cubs down towards the river system. Just, here we go, the young Nkuhuma lioness. Being attacked. rest of them all lying up on the edge of the little river system to the left. But let's keep with the... So they've all gone down here. Oh, but while the lions are not doing too much, let's go to Jamie, who's got one of the rarest birds in Africa.
We might not have found the lions, but we have found something incredibly exciting. And I'm going to just keep shifting forward, I'm sorry, and I want to try and get you the best view of these amazing birds. One of the rarest birds that we get out here, critically endangered. There's only about 1,400 or 500 of them left in the wild. The amazing ground hornbill, cousin of the yellow-billed and the red-billed and the grey hornbill. And just look at this, we've got an amazing family group here. There's actually 5 of them. One of them was very definitely a male. There's 2 juveniles that I can see. This is absolutely awesome. Let me just try and shift around a little bit. I'll go into the details of males and females in 1 second. I just want to see if we can't get a view of that little hornbill. So as I said, critically endangered due to habitat loss as well as poaching in different regions. They're very big, very powerful, but also slightly silly birds. And what they often do is because they're so territorial, is they smash windows of various buildings, which, as you can imagine, in a place like South Africa where there's a great deal of poverty, doesn't make them very popular. So to see a family group like this is absolutely wonderful. Hold on 1 second. Come on, hornbills. You're being awkward. They're all moving onto Nkoro. To see 5 of them together like this is very special. Takes one ground hornbill roughly 7 years to reach sexual maturity, which means that their breeding cycle is particularly slow. They also only ever lay 2 eggs at a time, and only one of those offspring will survive. And they do live in these cooperative family groups, so the offspring from previous generations will help their parents to raise the next set. We're just getting to the time of year when they're going to start breeding again. They've got 2 nesting periods, one in sort of November, December, and the other in around February, March or so. Come on, birds, just out of reach. I'm going to go forward a little bit, and then I'm going to show you a picture so you can help us to determine males and females. I saw 1 male definitely, 1 female. And I think 2 juveniles. Come on. Right at the back there. There you go, look at that. You can really see the contrast between a mature individual on the right and then the yellowish skin around the face of the juvenile. I think this might have been one of the first time that we've seen a juvenile with that sort of yellowish face. It's the first time I've seen one since I've started working here. Awesome. It's been a long time since I've seen them. I hear their call every now and again. The doot, 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 doot. Brian's very good at doing it. He's even had a hornbill look at him and respond to him. So we definitely saw 1 female with a blue underneath the throat. Let's just have a look at this. There we go, Justin. You were saying this is 43 on your bird list. I'm very happy to hear it. There's the male there. Very large, and with a little bit of a casque, what's called a casque, on the top of its bill. And there we have the female with the blue, and then the juvenile, which we saw very clearly there with the yellow. And please excuse my dirty fingernails because I've been changing tires this morning. Now Justin says it's number 43 on his bird list. We of course encourage all of our viewers to keep a list of the different bird species. I'm going to try and see if we can get one last view, but unfortunately I think they have moved into some very dense vegetation. Well, Justin, that's a rare one to add to your bird list. As I said, only 1,400 left in the world. One of the other reasons that they are so endangered is that they're very, very choosy about their nest sites. Oh, I think they've disappeared. I could sort of see one. And Aaron, you wanted to know how big their nest sites are. So what they try and do is they try and go into hollows in jackalberries and marula trees. And the entrance hole is actually surprisingly small. Oh, they're so far away. The entrance hole that they use, and I've been fortunate enough to find a few ground hornbill nests in my time working. I used to work with an organization called the Ground Hornbill Project in Mabula. Because what Mabula does is they take the second egg, because the second chick always dies. So they take the second egg and they take it off to and hand raise it, but in a way that the animal can then be released back into the wild. So you know they do it with all the puppets and everything, so that the chicks don't imprint on people. That's what they do at Mbula. The last hornbill nest that I found, the entrance hole was about this large. It was a hollowed out part of a marula where a branch had died and then fallen off. And the chick was inside there. Unfortunately, that little chick was lost to a caracal. We think it was a caracal. We had claw marks moving all the way up the tree, and one day the chick was there and the next it was gone. What we also do, or what certain organizations also do, is put up artificial nest sites, which is usually a big empty plastic drum. And you can see, you can actually Google it. We've tried wood. Wood they seem to prefer after we lost a hornbill nest to lightning. They prefer wood. But you can also get plastic artificial nests in certain areas where they have been reintroduced. Really, really cool sighting, and lovely to see 5 of them. Let's head back out on foot and see what else Steph has managed to find for you.
Look at this absolutely wonderful, amazing, terrific creature that we've managed to find over here. This is an insect, an arthropod. It is a superb ambush specialist. That is a praying mantis, believe it or not. Praying mantis, we've seen all different types of praying mantis. We've seen them shaped like flowers, shaped like grass, shaped like everything. This is one that is shaped like bark. Now let me see if I can show you why I know it's a praying mantis. Have a look at the head. Look at those big bulbous eyes. And then usually praying mantis have their claws that extend out in front of them. This particular praying mantis obviously hunts underneath bark slivers, and so its claws are slightly back from its head and then tucked in underneath and must shoot out sideways. But just have a look at that. Isn't that the most amazing of creatures? I was just saying, imagine this would be like walking into your house and then having your wall detach itself and basically bite your head off without you ever really knowing what is there. Just the most unbelievably fantastic creature. This is what I love out here in the bush, what you're looking at right now. Just evolution at its absolute best. And of course, at full zoom like you've got there at the moment, you're also showing off that shake that I develop when I'm trying to hold something still. So we found him underneath this particular piece of wood, and I'm going to be putting him back there because I think that these guys will be able to move, but are really... Look, here's another one. Here's an assassin bug. Look at that. So this has also come out from underneath here. That assassin would also be an ambush specialist, him looking a little bit more like grass than an actual piece of bark. Let's put him back next to the grass here so that he can go back to looking like grass. There you go. You can see he looks almost exactly like that. And we're going to be putting this fantastic creature back there. And then we're going to link to Jamie, who's got some warthog.
Not just any warthog, an absolutely massive warthog boar. And he is so incredibly close to the vehicle. It's been a very long time since we've had an opportunity to examine one of these incredible creatures this close to us. Isn't he absolutely amazing? Look at the size of those tusks. We saw one yesterday that I thought was absolutely enormous, but he only had one tusk on one side. This gentleman has got both complete sets as he snuffles away, and you can see how sharp those lower set of tusks actually are. Snuffling away, trying to make the most of the grass that's growing on the termite mound. Look at this, what an incredible view. Such a relaxed old gentleman. I think probably because he lives on a main road. This is the Cheetah Plains driveway. He is absolutely massive. I would put him at, I don't know, probably about 70 kilograms or so. He's a really seriously big boy with a surprisingly furry skin. Look at those bristles all over him. And what I was going to say is surprisingly tiny feet as well for his body size. They look so dainty with such a massive animal. Here's a really good view of his dew claws as well, his dew hooves. Can't get over how relaxed he is. You can actually hear him snuffling away. Look at that. That is one seriously impressive boy. Those warts on the side of his face, very, very prominent. One of the easiest ways to tell the difference between a male and a female warthog, because he's got two sets on each side. You can actually see them moving around. They're not, of course, warts, for those of you who are new to the safari experience. They're not warts. They are grizzly cartilage that essentially protects his face. Look at that. You can see how the lower tusk slides neatly against the upper tusk, and that, of course, is what keeps them razor sharp. So the weaponry on this warthog, the top tusks are more for show than they are for anything else. It's the bottom tusks that are exceptionally dangerous, the tushes. And a warthog like this would give a leopard a serious run for its money. Look at the dewlap. It's the most impressive dewlap I've ever seen on a warthog. The flap of skin below his neck, also a protective device. I wonder if he's going to be relaxed enough for us to switch on. He seems to be. Just before he disappears. Let's try. Not even a reaction, not even a head up. This is the most relaxed male warthog I've ever encountered in the Sabie Sands. You can hear him munching. He is looking a little bit thin, as are all the warthog at the moment. Let's try again. One more time. Don't vanish, mister. Please. Oh, no, he's changing his mind. He's going back up around the other side of the termite mound. Wow, this warthog has been unbelievably obliging to us. Sticking around and munching around the side of the termite mound. We're going to leave him be and start heading back towards Nkuhuma. Meantime, James is already there and he's having another close examination of something else.
I found a piece of wood outside, everybody. You can see that it has been destroyed by termites. They have eaten away at it, and for those of you who live in North America, as I think many of you do, I know that you have problems with termites in your homes. Well, this is why. They're very good at eating away at the wood. We don't have problems with termites here in our homes because, well, we don't build of wood. But if we did, we would have a problem, rest assured. Now, something that when you have termites here, a ready food source, you're almost inevitably going to have something that is going to want to eat them. And there you will find some spiders. And these are the exoskeletons of perhaps just one spider that has shed its skin many times and then wandered off. It looks to me like a violin spider, but it might not be. Let's have a look under the microscope. Let me just put it on, rest it on me leggies here so that we can have a good look. And there we are, Rebecca. Very well timed, excellent timing there. I won't make that scrapey sound again. Now just look at the 8 legs there coming out of the thorax. I think that's just amazing. Look at that. There's the abdomen, that's the back of the abdomen there, from which the silk glands exude their silk. And there's another one. I think this is exactly the same spider, everybody. You can see it's actually called, the head is called a cephalothorax, and then they've got an abdomen because they've only got 2 segments. But you can see that flap of skin there, I think is where it's burst out of its old exoskeleton. Quite amazing. And all around little bits and pieces of silk. As I said to you, much like with the spider we looked at earlier, it's not a web building spider, but all spiders can produce silk, which they use for various purposes, and this one probably just to hold itself in place and also to wrap its hapless prey, in this case almost inevitably termites. It's wrapped its prey in the silk. Isn't that cool? I think it's very cool. Right, back to me. And what we're going to do now is have a quick look here at a Natal Gwarry bush. It's not a particularly astounding bush, is it, David?
Oh, James.
No, but everything looks slightly more astounding under the microscope. Here we go. I'm just going to open it, and there we are. Lost the audio for a second there. The audio is back. Let's try again. Oh, back to me. Good. Right. Okay. Well, you did see it there. And were you to walk past this bush, you would almost certainly dismiss it as being without particular interest. But when you look at it at the scale of those tiny little micro hairs, it really is rather beautiful and rather impressive, the hundreds of different colors of green and silver and yellow that there were there. Let's head across to Stefan Winterboer. I'm sure he's hieing his way here, looking forward to Amanda's delicious breakfast.
I'm indeed looking forward to Amanda's delicious breakfast.
Why did you break my audio?
We've got to finish exploring. And what I found here is something that I haven't seen in the bush for a while. Have a look here. You'll see there's an egg sac inside there. And it's an egg sac with some protrusions on it. Have a look over there at the end of the stick. Can you see that? Come around a bit underneath. There. That is the egg sac of a recluse spider, and one of the more dangerous of the spiders that we have here. In actual fact, regarded by some as being the most dangerous spider in South Africa. I'm just seeing if I can actually see her. She'd be living in these parallel spaces. Now, they've got the most amazing web structure that you can believe in. She lives in an area that has parallel surfaces. So whether that surface is like this or like this, it doesn't really matter to the spider. She builds this lattice work of springs at the top and then has a trip line on the bottom. And what she is designed to catch is an insect walking along the wood, trips the trip line, and then gets hauled up off the ground into suspension basically by this lattice work of springs, and will sit there dangling in the air until she comes along and harvests him. And that's the recluse spider. That's the recluse spider that we're busy seeing at the moment. That's their method of hunting, and we've got one living inside here. Dangerous for people because they have a neurotoxic venom that travels through your lymphatic system and produces intense pain in your lymph nodes, so under your arms and your throat, wherever you get bitten close to there, and then can also have an effect on your heartbeat and on your respiration. So it stops the messages that tell you to breathe, or I think it's your sympathetic nervous system, the nerves that operate without you having to say, arm, go there, for instance, like your breathing and your heartbeats, blinking, that sort of thing. And it stops those nerves from functioning properly, which can be problematic. There are a few reported cases of deaths per year for the spider. I'm not exactly sure exactly how many, but definitely can cause some harm. And living on this old dead knobthorn. It's fantastic. What actually got me going over here is this hole. Looked like there was there's a woodpecker being able to start there. It still does look like that, or eventually be a woodpecker's nest or a barbet's nest. And then when I got here, this hole as well. Now that would be perfect for a genet or for some other small little animal like genets and snakes. Pythons will go and curl up there during the dry season. Wouldn't be impossible to think that a python would crawl in there and lie up inside a dead tree like this and wait out the dry season when it starts raining coming out. Haven't seen any snake tracks just yet. Did see a scorpion track this morning. Did see a baboon spider track this morning, and that to me is proof enough that we're approaching the end of the spring. All right, now that has brought us smartly to the end of our bushwalk today. Unfortunately, we will see you again this afternoon. So from myself, Steph, and from Jean-Ray, thank you very much for all your support. We'll catch you this afternoon, and you're off to Lion Cubs.
So we're still sitting with the Nkuhuma pride. No one's feeding, everyone's got fat bellies. Even the cubs have stopped playing and are having a snooze. Now they've moved from where Jamie was with them last night to where they've caught this buffalo. It's probably no more than about 600 meters. Quite a lot of buffalo around at the moment. Oh, here comes another cub. Let's see if he's going to disrupt the slumber of the others. Or he's going to go join in the slumber. Oh, the head's getting heavy. It's nice and cool today, so the sun hasn't broken through the cloud just yet. So I won't move too far away from the carcass just to keep the vultures at bay. Hi Natalie in California. Natalie's wondering, will the pride get too big with all the success they're having during the drought to be supported by the ecosystem? No, not necessarily, Natalie. Now, at the moment, the pride, even if there are 4 or 5 females amongst the 8 cubs, putting them at 10 would still be sufficient. There would still be sufficient game around to support the pride. They might have to move around a bit more. Only when a pride becomes very big, sort of over 20, 30, normally then will they split into smaller prides. And it's not so much the ecosystem can't sustain them, it's that they can't sustain themselves with that many lions all feeding at the same time. And they generally break off into smaller groups, making it easier to feed. So once they catch something, there's less mouths all feeding off the same food source. Oh, look at all the tired little cubbies. Literally scattered around, all fast asleep, or most of them are at least. The adults are fast asleep. But what an exciting sunrise safari. We've had lions and wild dogs, buffaloes, and some incredible other creatures around. And good news for us is that the incredible Nkuhumas are going to be right here come sunset safari. So I'm sure one of us will come have a check. I'm just very excited. I got to see my favorite animal, the African wild dog. We got to hear them calling. But from Brian and myself, and of course the Nkuhuma pride on their buffalo carcass, it's been all business, like the thumb says. And it's going to be a very exciting sunset safari in a few hours. So we look forward to joining you for those safaris. What else could be out here? Stay tuned to find out.